In the last lesson, we learned how to look more deeply into some of the ideas that Google will give you. For example, using related search or instant or autocomplete. Now I want to show you a little bit of another idea about how to read more carefully. Reading is really the key to understanding how to get into the knowledge. And that's what this whole class is all about. So let me show you a couple techniques here. One of the things I want you to not do is to skip words that you don't know just because you don't recognize them. Often when you're doing a search, you'll do a search like this one here for immigrants sending money home, and there'll be lots of words in the content, in the snippets, in the titles that you just don't recognize. Don't let that worry you. Here's what you can do. You can actually use one of the Google tools to help look up these words. For example, in this one, you might see this word remittance. Here I've highlighted the word, and it's not a common word, so what exactly is it? Don't skip over it. Let me show you how to look it up. It's really easy to use the define. Here I've done define remittance. It's really easy just to type define and then whatever the word is that you don't know. Or if you really can't type it very, very easily, select the word using your mouse and then copy paste. Very simple. So here now we see the definition. It's a particular amount of money that's sent through the mail or through some wire transfer service. If you don't know that, those web results don't make a lot of sense to you. So be sure you look that stuff up. Okay? Now, one thing I want to point out here is that we've got this nice downward arrow. You see that? That downward gray arrow? When you see a new interaction widget like that, that's what these things are called, widgets, honestly. When you click on that widget, that downward arrow, it will open up a new panel below that point, and it will give you additional information about the word. In this case, we see the timeline of the use of that word over time. So remittance actually is an old word. It's been around in the English language since at least 1800. Let me show you another example to illustrate this really well. I'm going to say define literacy. Now, you would think literacy is one of those ideas that's been around forever, right? Well, let's click on that downward arrow to see the timeline of that word's use in the past 200 years. Interestingly, the notion of literacy has really only been around, or common in English, since about 1950. Did we not think about literacy before? It's a longer story. We'll go into that later. But the point is, we've now got this ability to look into words and their meanings in a much more deep and interesting way. Let me show you one other thing. I can say, for example, define words that are not in dictionaries. What I mean by that is a word like pwned. It's a word that you might have used or might have seen, and you can see I even misspelled it and corrected it anyway. But you could see this is a definition that was extracted from some content on the web. So in many cases, you can look up words that are slang or in temporary use or have only current meanings. This is a really nice thing to be able to do. So as you can see, not only can we look up words that are not in the current dictionary and get their definitions, but we can look up words that we are a little bit dubious about, don't really know what they mean, and get their exact definitions. So never let a word pass you by that you don't recognize. This is a way to get more deeply into the content. So when we look at a word like literacy, a word that you think has been around forever, you can see it's not that way at all. So here, this is a powerful tool to be able to use. It will change the way you read. Use it carefully. Use it often.